standing.
She isn't standing now.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2002 video game adaptation Resident Evil. The film is written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and it stars Mila Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez. Right, okay, now the film is set in the fictional city of Raccoon City as per the video games. There is an underground testing lab facility. A virus gets out. Everybody downstairs in the labs is killed, essentially. And the military is sent in. And within the house, above the facility, is Mila Jovovich's character Alice, and another chappie who is essentially, she thinks or thought, her husband. They have no memory. They go with the military down into the facility, and unfortunately, everyone's zombies, so, you know, they're in a little bit of trouble. So they have to kind of figure out how are they going to get out without releasing this virus upon the world. Right, what are my thoughts on Resident Evil? Well, I put a poll up recently about, okay, what franchise do you want me to focus on next? And this was the one that came out on top. So I thought, well, okay, I was kind of hoping it would be this one, because as far as I'm aware, this is the only one I've ever seen in the franchise. I might be wrong, I might have seen maybe the second one, but I don't recall anything about it, so it can't be that memorable if I have, but I might not have done. Now, I'll be honest, when this first came out and I watched it, I wasn't overly impressed, but I haven't watched it since. So it was interesting to kind of rewatch this after a long time and to give you my thoughts on it. Now, it's also worth mentioning that while obviously this channel does video games and game reviews, etc., I am not what you would describe as a super fan when it comes to Resident Evil. I'm not really even a big fan of the games. I've played some of them, of course I have. But I'm not a big horror game fan. So I'm not going into these films with that kind of baggage either in regards to expectations of what I want to see. There are some things, obviously I recognise some characters like Alice obviously in this film, and some shots with, you know, the guy with the bent over foot and the thing being dragged behind him, you know, and there's other classic shots, and there's other things you kind of recognise from the video games. But it's not in your face type of stuff, and they've kind of done their own thing a little bit. Now, I thought this film, for the most part, was very, very watchable. Apart from the first, well, I don't know if I would go as far as to the first half of the film, but the first section of the film I thought was pretty naff. The whole setup, you know, where the military, you know, break into the mansion and they all go downstairs and, you know, there's the searching for this, that and the other, and basically, until the zombies turn up, it's not very good, in my opinion, this. And it's just not. It's pretty dull stuff, just following this military unit and Mila Jovovich and the guy it's supposed to be her husband around the facility as they're going into doors and checking this and, you know, looking for that. And then when the zombies turn up, I think this finally puts itself in fourth gear and we're off to the races. And it's a significantly improved film, which, you know, it's a zombie film front and center. So why they took so long to kind of do that and put the zombies in it, I don't know. It kind of just kept dangling the carrot for far too long, in my opinion. But the rest of the film I thought made up for it. Okay, it's not the best zombie film you're ever going to see. It's obviously it's not really connected to any of the games that I've played in a sense of the story and things like that. They've obviously done their own thing here, but it's well done, and I enjoyed definitely Michelle Rodriguez's character. I mean, she's badass in everything that she does. And Mila Jovovich's character Alice. There's obviously a lot of mystery surrounding her. You know, who is she? There are scenes in this film where she's got these quite incredible abilities that aren't obviously explained. Now I know that there's quite a few more films in this franchise, and you know she's front and center in them all, as far as I'm aware. So we're going to learn a lot more as the films go on. But I thought the action was well done. It's not what I would describe as scary, and I think it could have done with some more traditional horror in it. It was more action based. Some of the effects I don't think have particularly aged well, especially the liquor. The zombies themselves look absolutely fine. I didn't have an issue with them at all. But when they tried to go for the more video game based zombies like the liquor, and even the dog sort of thing, they didn't look brilliant in my opinion. I thought it did well for what it was trying to do. And it kind of kept you interested as the film progressed through it. And you know, as you start losing the crew on the military team, it's almost like that Magnificent Seven syndrome where they're kind of going or dropping one at a time. And then at the end of the film, where you know you hear things like, "I want him put into the Nemesis." Program. Yeah, you're thinking if you've played Resident Evil, you got any knowledge of that, you're thinking where that's going. And then I thought the ending actually was pretty good. It was almost 28 days later, like ending. You know, where she wakes up, she leaves the facility, walks into the streets to see the devastation of what has gone on. You know, the virus has got out. Raccoon City is obviously in tatters now, and that really does set up the next film. And I think that Paul Anderson really, I think he's underrated. He's done some good stuff. He really has, in my opinion. A lot of people think he's wasted a lot of his career on these films, probably. I don't know if I would agree with that yet because I've not seen them all. But to my knowledge as well, most of these were profitable. I might be wrong, and I will check that as I watch and review each of them. But I mean, they wouldn't have carried on making them if they weren't profitable. They were popular and profitable, even if they were kind of critically mauled as the series went on. And even I kind of sniggered at them, you know, in the later ones. They got terrible reviews. But again, the fans liked them, and the fans supported the films, and they always did quite well. And we know that Mila Jovovich and the director Paul Anderson ended up getting engaged, I think, the following year after this, and then they've been together ever since. So, you know, it's a decent film, this. For like an action stroke horror, it works well. More on the action side of it. I think the film could have done with more traditional horror. I think that would have maybe elevated it a little bit more. You know, the effects haven't dated particularly well, and the first section of the film I think is not very good at all. It's not a good opening to the film, but it's certainly a good end to the film. So those are my thoughts on the original Resident Evil from 2002. Let me know your thoughts on this film and the franchise. Which are your favourites? And I will look forward to reviewing those and seeing what your thoughts are on those as well. So I will speak to you soon, and I'll be back with loads more content on the channel very, very soon.